Everyone, welcome back to another session with me. This is Sanyukta Saxena. We are already down a couple of bookmarks and trying to explore and understand more of fragments in Zentangle. Today's fragment is fragment H5. Yes, we are going to try out this fragment today, fragment H5, and we'll again draw another bookmark using this fragment. As I mentioned before also, you can use any kind of grid. We are going with square grid, but you can always try different kinds of grid here. I'm again going to be starting with a simple square grid. If you want, you can always use a pencil. First create a grid and then start to pen it. It is entirely your choice. So I have started creating a square grid, somewhat ensuring that they are similar in size. Even if they are not, doesn't matter. So I'm using my Micron 08, which is a little bolder nib. Yes. And started to ink my grid. So this is a simple square grid. In the last few sessions we have been using the diamond kind of a grid. This is a simple square grid. Yes, and then I'm going to probably just add one line in between, or you can also create, two lines. Probably one line would be good. So that's our grid. Yes. Now how do we draw the fragment? It is very simple to draw. First we'll insert a square inside each of these square sections. Somewhere in the center. Don't get bothered about, whether it is perfectly in center or not. Somewhere in the center. Slowly go to each square and draw another square inside. Place somewhere in the center of the bigger square, like this. Yeah. So once we have done that, now the next step is to extend this line with a curve at the end. Right. So this was the first side. Now I will be moving to the second side. So how will you extend that? Again, you have to move to the right every time. Yes, or you have to move to the left every time. So this was the side, then I go to the third side, and then I go to the fourth side, like this. Yes. Now how do we form meta patterns using this fragment? I can either go same clockwise in this fragment also, or I can go anti-clockwise, which means the next one I will draw like this. Yeah, so all of them will be to the left. So this side is taken care of. Now this side moving to the left. Yes, now this side. Now this side moving to the left, and finally fourth side moving to the left. So this is one clockwise and one anti-clockwise, and I'm going to repeat the same. So how do you have to proceed in the next one? This one itself gives you the clue. So I'm again going clockwise, going clockwise, going clockwise, and going clockwise. Yes, again this will give you how do you have to proceed. It can be little tricky to start with. You can already see what kind of meta pattern is this fragment forming. Yes, again this section will give you a clue as to how you have to move with the next section. So if you are getting confused here, start like this. Yes, so that was to the left. Again this will come to the left. Again this will come to the left. Again this will come to the left. Yes, again you have to take a cue from the previous section, which is the section above. Again continue. Again continue. This can be a little tricky, so just be patient and take your time. Yes, this is the fragment. Again you have to take a cue from here and complete this U shape. Yes, I'm completing these U shapes. So one is clockwise and one is anti-clockwise. That's how I'm going. And the other side of the bookmark we'll do all in one direction. So I will give you an idea how this fragment creates different kind of meta patterns. Yes, so now you got an idea how do you have to complete it. So slowly take your time and do that exercise like this. Still working in the same fashion. Take your time. Again you have to complete this U. So start like this. All will turn in the same direction, either left or right. Take a cue from the fragment above. So complete this U first and then this one. So they are all forming U's, and then this one. Yes, so that's our fragment. Now we have a choice. We can either fill lines inside these. You can switch your pen to a little finer nib. Now I'm using my pen and I'm going to draw further lines inside. Yes, now what you can do is just add further lines. You can also break the lines to add highlights. And now I'm adding the lines in a continuity, covering the U from one end to the other, like this. Yeah, so let's do that. You just have to keep changing the direction of the line. A slight curve will look nice. As many lines as you want. Don't have to count the lines, they need not be equal, but wherever there is a U, just continue from one end to the other. Like this. Yes, so let's do that exercise now. You can also do this exercise with a colored micron if you want. You can see I'm changing the directions of the lines every time. Yes, the lines are not all in the same direction. Again, there is a U here, so continue from one end to the other. Take your time. Slowly do this exercise. Yes, simple fragment to draw, yet as I mentioned, fragments are special because of the meta patterns that they create when put into different reticula or grid. And we have still not changed the grid as such, it's just the arrangement. Yes, we will experiment a little with the grid also. In bookmarks specifically, I think the square grids are the best, but we shall try out few different grids also. Slowly take your time, complete each section, do this line work. Wherever there is a U, go from one end to the other so they look in continuation. You can also use colored pens to do this exercise. Please don't count the number of lines, doesn't matter. Just go with the flow. Enjoy what you're doing. So I switch nib so that my line and the grid stand out. Yes, simple tangle to draw, simple fragment. Let's continue like this. Please draw at your own pace, no hurry. You can continue the same way. Yeah, so I'll continue in this fashion. You can see every section has lines running in a different direction, and that is important. So make sure you take care of that. Yes. So I'm still continuing in the same fashion. Adding lines. As I mentioned, you can always add a highlight. Break the lines in between. If you want, you can also add some other pattern inside. For example, Knight's Bridge. Any other tangle of your choice instead of doing plain line work. Yes, so that's completely your choice. Take your time. And the last few sections. And we are done. Yeah, so that's the fragment, and you can see how does it look like after you have combined and put it into a grid. Now these sections, either you can make it absolutely black. Let's keep this in black and white only. Probably we will use color on the other side. Yes, so I'm just going to use a bolder nib. So I'm just going to ink this space black. Like this. Yes, you can see it adds instant drama. Alternatively, you can add anything else inside, like tipple, like a spiral, a printom, anything. Something like hybrid. So take your time, slowly go to each of the squares and ink it like this. So let us now shade. I'm using my graphite pencil, and wherever there are overlaps, I'm going to add some graphite and blend it. Yes. Wherever the lines seem to be going under, I'm adding some graphite there. Yes. So let's blend. So that is how we are going to add the graphite at every intersection where lines seem to be going under. Yes. So let's do that throughout. Take your time and do that exercise throughout. I'm first adding graphite everywhere. Yes. Let's do that throughout before we start to blend. So let's now blend. Take your time. Go to each of the intersections where you have added graphite. Blend it well. Slowly. Take your time. Soften the graphite. Should not look patchy. Like this. Yes. Now if you want to add some bit of zen, the white jelly roll you can always touch inside this black, but that's entirely your choice. You may or may not do it. Add some mystic value, a mystic feel. You can skip this part if you wish. Yes, so that was one way to draw this fragment. Yes, if you want, you can add some more shadow by adding your gray watercolor pencil, but I'm going to leave it here and probably show you quickly how to draw it the other way. So I've just flipped my bookmark and drawn another grid, a little smaller grid than the previous one. This was a little bigger grid. Yes, and now let's do the same exercise, but let's draw all of them in the same direction. Yes, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. The next one that I did was again anti-clockwise, but I'm going to go all in the same direction, just to give you a clue on how you can vary the look by drawing it clockwise or anti-clockwise. Yes, something like what we do for paradox. You can also add something else inside, or even if you don't add anything else and just shade it as such, it looks nice. So doing all of them in the same direction. Yes, take your time. So that's another food for thought. Complete your bookmark drawing the fragment this way also. Use your color pencil to shade. I drew in black and white with simple line work. You can add colors slowly. You can also draw all of them anti-clockwise and you get a third pattern. That's the fun of fragments. Yes, and all this when we are just sticking to one grid. Yes, so the moment you change the reticula, you form another set of patterns. Yeah, so complete this one. You can see how it is forming a different pattern altogether. You can use your color pencil and shade these sections beautifully. Yes, so just to show you a glimpse, this is how you can use 2 shades of color pencil and shade this fragment. Yes, beautifully, and this is how it will look like. So do complete this bookmark. I shall see you again in another session of the bookmark special with fragments. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.